because it was in a perfect location to transport material from the south up into the north. And so in the ancient world already, Mecca seems to have been a center for the camel caravan business. We have a reference to that business in the Bible. So if you look to page 2 here, you'll see Isaiah 60. This is a reference, this is a prophecy of what's going to happen in the future. Dust clouds of camels shall cover you, camels of Midian and Ephah. And by the way, Midian and Ephah were children of Abraham in these earlier genealogies. They shall come from where? Sheba, and they shall bear gold and incense, and shall herald the glories of the Lord. All the flocks of Kedar shall be assembled for you. The rams of Neviot shall serve you. Kedar and Neviot are also in the genealogies, children of Abraham. So we have this relationship already. And the relationship is one that is actually one in tension. If you look at Genesis 16 in the next box, we'll see an interesting reference. This is a reference to Ishmael. Ishmael. This is the angel who then speaks to Hagar and tells her what's going to happen to her new son she's about to have. And the angel of the Lord said to her, to Hagar, I will greatly increase your offspring, and they shall be too many to count. You shall bear a son. You shall call him Ishmael, Yishmael, for the Lord has paid heed to your suffering. Yishmael in Hebrew means God hears. He shall be usually the translation here is wild ass of a man, his hand against everyone and everyone's hand against him. He shall dwell alongside all of his kinsmen. Now, Jewish tradition takes this reference to Ishmael as a negative condemnation of nasty behavior. But what this really is a phenomenological observation of the tension between agriculturalists and pastoral nomadists. He will be not a wild ass of a man. The word wild ass is a pere, as opposed to a hamor, which is a domesticated donkey. So he, as a pere Adam, is going to be really a wilderness man, somebody who lives in the desert, as opposed to an agriculturalist. And he shall have his hand against everyone and everyone's hand against him, because the way life worked in the ancient world, really up until this very day, one of the reasons why there's tensions between Bedouin and settled peoples, not only between the Bedouin and the Jews living in Israel, but Bedouin and Arabs everywhere, is that the Bedouin are pastoral, they move, and they need to have the produce that is produced, at least a minimum amount of produce that's produced by agricultural growers. The growers don't really need to have the nomads. In order for the nomads to make sure that they are needed, that they will get the produce that they need, they will raid or threaten to raid. This has been the standard operating procedure, raiding agricultural settled areas, and then create a kind of a protection racket so they can be sure that they will get what they need. In other words, they'll say, we will protect you from those other raiders over there, those other Arab Bedouin, and with that we will get the dates that we need in order to feed the camels so that we can do our long-distance trading in the desert. So there's a natural tension, and what this is really describing is the natural tension that's part of ancient Israelite world. Is that unique between the Israelites and ethnic Arabs in the ancient world? Think for a moment, what national or religious groups in the ancient biblical world were the Israelites really friendly with? Maybe for a generation there was an alliance, but the Israelites were essentially in a relationship of tension with all of the different ethnic, national, and religious groups that were in the ancient Middle East. So this kind of tension that we see here is a natural tension of the ancient world. I think we mitigate that tension somewhat with our political systems today, but there is a kind of natural tension that is a normal part of human behavior. I'm going to now move us up 1,000 years from the ancient history of the Bible and move into the emergence of Islam in the 7th century in Arabia.